Partnerships form not when you have the deal. Partnerships form because the relationship forms way before you have a deal, right? When I look for a good deal and I'm going to bring a partner on, there are people that I already know in my network that would be interested in partnering, would be interested in going in. I know what they are looking for. They know what I'm doing. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Sean Moore, and we're here with my main man, Dave Savolich, for another segment of Whiskey Wednesday. These are our short, sweet, kind of to-the-point episodes where we're going to talk about some trending topics, things that are going on in our world and what we're up to, and then answer a couple of your guys' questions. So if you have questions, make sure you send them in. We love to get them answered live on these episodes. It's really fun for us. Before we start, Dave, did you see the old, I know you saw him, dude, Vodyssey, my main man, Jacob, our acquisitions manager. I don't know if you guys can see that, our Vodyssey inscribed whiskey glasses, and my favorite Buffalo Trace whiskey. So
each episode we get better and better.
I know. We're up in the game a little bit. Yeah. You know, Jacob came in over the holidays and got us some inscribed Vodyssey whiskey glasses.
Heck yes.
Jeez, I'm excited. So this is gonna be a good one. Let's dive in. What do we got today?
We're doing something new this year. Pretty excited about it. So every single month we're gonna have a Vodyssey Meet Up, and really what that means is we are gonna go. You and I are gonna travel to a different location every month, and the local members within, I'm sure, a couple hours drive, we'll give them the opportunity to come and meet with us for 3 or 4 hours. We'll have some food and some appetizers, hang out, get a chance to, meet one-on-one with our members. And really, it's more important too, I think they have the opportunity to meet with each other, network, know who's local in their areas, talk to each other. Our first one is going to be in Dallas this week. This Thursday, we're coming up a few days from now. Next month, we'll be in Nashville. We're going out. You're actually going to speak at a big STR Wealth convention, and we're excited about that. So we'll do a meetup there. And then in March, we're going to go to Colorado. So that's pretty exciting. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. We usually do the 1 or 2 Vodyssey Live events. These are members only events that we put on for our members. And again, like you said, we get together, we talk about all things short-term rentals, but really we like to network and it's fun. And so this year we thought, okay, we're going to go to different areas of the country. Every single month we're going to pick somewhere else to go and get together and on us and have a day of networking and just enjoying each other's company. I think that what we're going to do, so those of you listening, pay attention to Vodyssey.com and we'll start posting these. The first few are members only. What we thought of doing is starting to plan them out where we have one day non-members, and so we can network with local investors in the area that are not part of our Vodyssey mentorship program, and then tag on. So if we're in town, let's do that. Like have a little workshop and then get together with our members and network and form those relationships, because in any sort of endeavor, business endeavor, investing endeavor, having that network of like-minded people that you surround yourself with, some of the professional partners that join us there, between lenders and insurance agents and everything in between that we, with all those professionals that you use when you're investing, it's great to put faces to names and network. And so we're excited to hit the road this year. We're going to
some of our resources will be there too. Some of our partners will be there to kind of help. And I think it's really cool. You did one in Cherry Log, Georgia, a few months ago. Even today, those members that came, they still interact with each other. A couple of them have partnered on projects, and I think it's a great networking thing and a way for them to be able to come and ask you questions and talk about some of their challenges and issues. So
it's funny you mentioned the partnership side of it, because so many people ask us, well, what does it take to partner with somebody? How does that look? What happens? I said, first you got to get out there. First you got to meet people. First you got to network. Partnerships form not when you have the deal, right? Partnerships form because the relationship forms way before you have a deal, right? When I look for a good deal and I'm going to bring a partner on, there are people that I already know in my network that would be interested in partnering, would be interested in going in. I know what they are looking for. They know what I'm doing.
You know them, you trust them.
I'm not. And so that's a great point, that a lot of these meetups and a lot of our live events, these relationships form, and then ultimately business partnerships form and real estate partnerships form. So
we'll keep you posted. We'll have obviously some content, some videos and some things out on those, but we're really excited. That's going to be awesome. So let's talk about a trending topic. One of the things that's kind of come up a little bit lately is dialing in the correct revenue projections in a market in order to decide, hey, am I going to make an offer on that property or not? A lot of people, they have to decide, am I getting the right data? Am I getting the right revenue projections? Do I feel confident enough in the numbers to go ahead and make a offer? So I just kind of want to talk about that. How important is that?
This is a really loaded up question with a lot of layers. So forgive me for getting a little long-winded for a Whiskey Wednesday.
All right.
But it's important. It's the most important thing you're going to do on the front end of any sort of investment. And there's a lot of mistakes that are made when inexperienced investors are trying to underwrite a deal, right? And so not all properties perform the same way. And so the natural tendency for a lot of investors first is to say, okay, let's keep it with short-term rentals because that's what we do. But it's very similar with any asset class that you're going to invest in and analyze and underwrite. You've got to figure out first, like normally what an investor is going to do is say, okay, I'm going to go talk to the realtors, the management partners, those people that are in the game and try to get my revenue projections. Hey, I'm looking at a 3-bedroom property in this market. What is it going to make? Naturally, those experts want to give you a number. They're going to spit out a number. Software tools, right? Okay, I'm going to go into STR Insights, B&B Calc, AirDNA, all these different Rabu, all these different STR built underwriting software data tools that they can plug in an address, plug in the bedroom count, plug in a guest count, and these software tools spit us out a number. Realize that those are companies. They're giving you what you want, not necessarily what you need. And you don't know, as an inexperienced investor, whether that revenue projection or whether that one number that was spit out by a management partner or a software tool, whether that's going to be accurate or not. And here's what I mean by that. Every single market in short-term rentals, it doesn't matter where you go or any asset class, but if you have, do you think all 3 bedrooms make the same amount of money?
Yeah, no way.
No, right? And so your first job as an investor is to underwrite the market itself. And you underwrite it 2 ways. We need to see, okay, I need to analyze all of the properties in the market, and I need to figure out kind of the top of the revenue line and the bottom of the revenue. And so there's a revenue projection range in that market that says, okay, 3 bedrooms are making between X and X. And most of the time that range is fairly wide.
Right.
And so the next problem is a lot of people will figure out that range or say, okay, I've got this range and I'm just going to be conservative and put it somewhere in the middle.
Right.
Well, that doesn't work either, because if you have a beachfront property, you're not going to be somewhere in the middle. Just based on proximity, you're going to be closer to the top.
Right.
Vice versa, if you're not in a beachfront community, you can't say, okay, I'm going to project all the way to the top. You might be closer to the bottom, right? Depending on how far you are away from in proximity. You know, the customer experience, and this is where those software tools and everybody, even realtors, management partners, really fall flat. They don't know what type of an experience you're going to put together, right? We are in the experience business. How are you going to project what your revenue is accurately without really knowing the end game of how you're going to deliver a great experience? Again, there's all these layers. So first, let me just start from the beginning. I analyze the market itself. I figure out the revenue range. Then what I need to do is go say, okay, what is the average acquisition cost for that type of property that I just ran the revenue projection for, right? So if it's a 3-bedroom in the market, I've got to figure out, okay, I can buy a 3-bedroom. Let's say there's going to be a range that you can buy 3 bedrooms in that market. Maybe on the low side, 250, top side, 300, 350. There's going to be this range of my acquisition. There's going to be a revenue range. Then I got to look on the quick surface, say, okay, if I have to make 10% of my acquisition in gross revenue, does that fall somewhere on that revenue range? Because that's about my break even. If it falls closer to the top of the revenue range, that might not be as investable of a market for me. If it falls to the bottom, then I know I've got some upside, maybe I'm more interested, right?
And if it doesn't, you fall in there, then maybe that's a red flag that you might want to move away from.
Yeah, right? There's something wrong, right? It's going to be somewhere on that scale, and so it top to bottom, and so you have to look at so many different things, and then I have to analyze and realistically say, okay, who's my target audience? What is my proximity to the major attractions? What does the house have to add to that unique experience? What can I do to add to that unique experience? And then, based on all of that, where am I going to fall on that revenue range line? And so, when you're running the numbers, it's a lot more involved than people realize. But it's the first step to your success in any sort of investment is really understanding the investment, understanding what drives revenue in your market. You know, what revenue potential you have. You might love to make X amount, but maybe the market itself just doesn't command that type of money, right? And you're like, well, if I could do this, this, and this, I'm going to make all this extra money, and most likely you're not setting high watermarks in markets. So you have to fall within that revenue range. And based on all of that stuff, then you start to underwrite. And it's not as easy as just plugging it into a software tool, calling a realtor, calling a management company where somebody spits out the middle of the market. Because frankly, the middle of the market typically doesn't make money. So you'll look at a lot of deals and you're going to say, man, I'm sitting on the sidelines and I can't find a good deal and I can't find anything that underwrites. And you're sitting there saying that over and over and over. And what you're really struggling with is figuring out how to find the good deals and really how to analyze them correctly so that you know what deals to chase and what deals to walk away from.
The moral of the story is, one, is super important. You've got to dial that in. You've got to put the effort into it. If you've got to work very, very diligently on understanding the market, understanding the numbers, understanding the projections, and secondly, making sure you have a path or a strategy of doing that. Which Vodyssey does have amazing analytic tools and worksheets and stuff that we help them walk right through that process.
Go to what is it? DataSense.
STRDataSense.com. Yep.
So if you go to STRDataSense.com, is that it?
Yep.
Just look up DataSense on STR DataSense. We've got our entire underwriting tools available for people for free.
Yep, exactly.
Just go through that. For $97, they can get my whole training on it.
Yeah.
Because it's such an important part of the process. And so go to STR DataSense, dive into that, and figure out your underwriting. Because it's a huge deal in any sort of just the path to success in the very, very beginning. I mean, you can make a lot of adjustments along the way with marketing, setting a property up, creating different experiences, choosing a different target audience if you missed on one. You buy the wrong property in the wrong market that doesn't have the potential to make money, trouble. It's a problem.
Yeah, awesome. Good. Okay. All right, let's get to a couple questions. All right, first question is, how important is it to name your short-term rental?
It's not so critical that you're going to be, okay, if you don't have a great name, you're going to fall flat, right?
Yeah.
But naming is really important, especially if you can be descriptive with your properties. One of our property, we call it the Stargazer, right? Because it's in the desert. We've got these beautiful desert night skies. We've got this rooftop viewing area. It helps us create the experience, but it also helps describe what that experience is going to be. What is somebody going to do? Usually you don't, I'm not a big fan of calling it, if I'm in Scottsdale, calling it, or St. George, the desert oasis, right? They know they're coming to the desert. Everybody has the old desert oasis. The beachfront bungalow. That everybody on the beach has those, you know. So, but if it can be very descriptive of your location, if it can be descriptive of what the experience is going to be like, I think a name can be really, really powerful in your marketing. Another property that we just hit number one with is called the Lakeside Treehouse.
Right.
Well, that describes what that experience is. The property's on stilts. The house is raised up. You're in the canopy of the trees overlooking we're lakefront, right? So it's called the Lakeside Treehouse. Very descriptive of what that experience is going to be like. If I just called it, Mountain Escape or, Blue Ridge Bear Cabin in the Woods. I mean, it's that's not that. So you think about your name and try to name it based on the experience and being as descriptive as possible, because then it can be really powerful in your marketing. I think names are really important, but you've got to think them through and try to be as descriptive and unique as possible with them.
Right. And one thing to add, our Stargazer in St. George, we actually just added a hot tub to it. So now in the actual description, the listing, we have Stargazer with private hot tub.
Right.
And a lot of people, they want an amenity. They want a hot tub. They want, whatever. And that really sets us apart from everybody else, because they know when I go to that property or I'm looking at a property with a hot tub, I know it has a private hot tub. So that's another thing.
And that's more headline than name, right? So you want to put some of the key features or the key amenities in the headline. And if you can do that with a name, it's great, because it saves that valuable real estate. It's shorter. Like Lakeside Treehouse. That's easier for me to say because that's the name of the cabin instead of beautiful cabin, lakefront, in the trees. I can be really descriptive, really short, and then I can put something else on it.
Good. Okay. All right. Last question. For luxury properties, and I guess frankly all properties, short-term rentals, do you like a 2 or a 3 night minimum?
I'm a huge 2 night minimum fan.
Okay.
I've just seen it proven over and over and over again that 2 nights helps you maximize your occupancy. It helps you fill in the gaps. You don't have, you would think you'd have more orphan days. Our experience is exactly the opposite. It allows more flexibility. You're going to typically fill up those weekends, which are your higher, in most markets, those are your higher average nightly rates quicker if you do 2 nights instead of 3 nights. And then the other thing that we've seen for years now, and thousands of bookings, not just a couple, it's not theory, it's very, very well proven out, and we notice it almost almost exclusively across the board, with very, very, very few exceptions, is even if you offer a 2-night minimum, if you're a property or in a market that the average night stay is 5 nights, you're going to be at or above that average night stay. The market will self-select the longer stays.
Right.
And so we worry so much that we're going to have all these 2-night bookings. You're not going to. I'm here to tell you. I just see it over and over and over again. The market will self-select those longer nights. But when you give them more flexibility on the front end, they will self-select longer.
Right.
But they're more interested because we like flexibility. We like to have options, right? We like to look at it. And will you get some 2-night stays? Absolutely.
Right.
That's okay. But guess what? You're going to have another 2-night stay right on the back end of it.
Right.
And your average is going to be whatever that average is in your market. And usually when you have a lower night, more flexibility, your average is actually typically usually longer than the average in the market. So luxury property, let's say it's a 10-bedroom property and you're like, why would who would book it for two nights, right? If you offer it for 2 nights, your average night stay on that type of a property in your market is 7 or 8 nights, you will find that your average night stay is going to be 7 or 8 nights.
Exactly.
And so it just we've seen it so many times across the board, and so with very, very few exceptions.
Well,
I keep it at a 2-night minimum.
I like it too because I personally, there's been so many times when I've looked at properties that I only have the ability to stay 2 nights, like maybe a Friday and a Saturday night or a Thursday and a Friday night, and they have a 3-night minimum and I don't book it. If it was available, I would have booked it. I literally would have booked that, and I really like those last minutes, hey, let's get away for the weekend or for a couple nights, and that's, you get those stays a lot when you have a 2-night minimum.
And what we typically do is always on our properties is our management partners, when we strategize with, I don't manage any of my own properties, but so when I say we do this, it's my management partners doing it, but we're the ones that set the rules and the expectations with it. But we have 2-night minimums. If somebody books 2 nights on a weekend, we always call them up and we always offer them the bookends for a discount.
Yeah, exactly.
And you would be shocked at how many times they pick up. Most people don't pick up the front end of it. So if they're coming in on Friday and they're checking their Friday and Saturday, checking out Sunday, and we'll say, hey, do you want to come in early on Thursday? We'll give you a discount. Most people can't do that as much, but booking Sunday is almost a given most of the time. I mean, we have a really high take rate on Sunday bookings at a little bit of a discount because we call them back up or we message them and say, hey, we noticed you're coming in Friday, Saturday. You have to check out 10 o'clock Sunday. A lot of people don't like to leave that early Sunday. Why don't I give you a Sunday at a discount, whether you stay the night or not? You've got all day.
Stay all day and you can leave late.
You can leave whenever you want.
Yeah.
And most people actually don't stay Sunday night. I started doing that because that's how I personally travel. Every time I book Friday and Saturday, I always book Sunday. And I started doing it, and I would ask them, hey, any sort of a discount to book Sunday, and I started offering that. But I do it mostly because I book that last day always.
Especially if you're driving, you can leave at 4 or 5 o'clock instead of at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
And so the exceptions are few and far between, but one that came to mind, so those of you are thinking, what exceptions? And so we have one of our members that is in a market that is just a weekend market. She has it's for girls' weekends in a specific market. She does not book weekdays, hardly ever. It's literally for girls' weekends. And so she knows, in fact, like her nightly rate on the weekends, for example, is like $800 a night. Her nightly rate in the weekdays, and it still doesn't book, is like $150 a night. So she just doesn't even book. She knows that that's not her target audience. They're coming in for a girls' weekend, and she has it set up perfectly for a girls' weekend. She has 3-night minimums. And so in that case, she's going to say, I know I need to get these 3 nights, otherwise,
in order to make it work. That makes sense.
In most markets where people book throughout the week, 2-night minimums work beautifully.
Well, that's what we got today, buddy.
Okay, all right, let's wrap it up.
Good episode.
Hey, good job, man.
Yes, man.
Back in action.
All right.
First of the year.
First year, we're excited and totally motivated.
Absolutely. So guys, go check out, because of our events, go check out, in fact, it's not live right now, but we'll do this. Dave, you hold me to it. Make sure that on Vodyssey.com, we'll put a tab that says events. And so you can go check out a tab that says events, see where we're going to be at in January. This week, we're going to be in Dallas. Then we're in first week of February. We're going to be in Nashville at the STR Wealth Conference. Bill Faith, Michael Sjogren, they put on an amazing conference. Lots of big speakers. We're going to be there contributing. So if you're in Nashville first week of February, go check out STR Wealth Conference. And those guys do a great job with a live event, so that'll be fun. And then we're going to be in Denver the first week of March, and then we'll start announcing. We try to announce three months in advance. And so we'll bounce around the country, look for us, come join us. Those of you that are joining us today, we know how valuable your time is, and we appreciate it. We ask you 2 things at every episode. We don't run ads. We don't do any sort of promotion on here other than ask you for your help in spreading the word. If you think somebody else would like it, share it with somebody that you know. Give us a review, give us a thumbs up on whatever platform you're watching on. And the final thing and the most important thing at the end of every episode is pick that one thing you can do today. Start building that life you don't want to take a vacation from. Cheers, my friends. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.